Hey, it's Jennifer, and I wanted to share a little bit of something that is really inspired today by, first of all, the rainbow that my sweetie and I, Adam, saw this morning as the sun was coming up here in North Carolina. And then, secondly, by something we were talking about, it had to do with Jacob Norby sharing on Blessed Are the Weird about about coming from the heart and speaking our truth. And then finally, in witnessing the powerful Million Women's March, which I'm sure was way more than a million women, it was just so powerful. Speaking a deeper truth, every woman probably having her own particular truth, along with the men too, because I really don't believe that that entire thing was about women in particular. I really think it was about, I really feel, and I'm sure you felt it as well, that that conversation was about freeing compassion and kindness in the world. It was about activating compassion and kindness. So there's a few things that came to mind as February 2nd in the United States is National Freedom Day. And it was about freeing people from slavery. And I'm going to add into that the freedom from slavery of our own minds to hold us back from expressing our heart, which is what Jacob Norby was saying. As Adam and I were walking, Adam was sharing with me that, you know, we enslave ourselves to keep our hearts locked up because we don't want to be seen. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be suppressed again. Almost the pain of suppression or oppression is worth just not saying anything, but that's not true. You see, I'm even thinking of the catalysts in this world. The catalysts, I've said before that people of this world, even in relationships and in love, the people in this world, but political leaders as well, are either inspirations and connectors, or what I like to call the ones, or they're catalysts so that we can come into our hearts and be catalyzed enough to come back to ourselves. It catalyzes us enough to actually finally speak out what our heart is saying without worry anymore that anyone will judge. So, is there is there anything wrong with a catalyst that causes us to come back into our hearts? Absolutely not. In fact, in an odd way, catalysts are even freeing themselves because usually what has them be triggering or disconnected from themselves is everything that happened to them as a child, everything that happened to them in another life. And oddly enough, if they truly have a venue in order to speak their pain, whether they know they're speaking their pain or not, if they have a venue to be able to say hurtful or inconsiderate or unkind things, if they have a venue to do things that are not inclusive and non collaborative, the funny thing is that all comes from a place of trying to get their power back. And interestingly enough, if we all get to be on the other side of those non collaborative, incompassionate things, then what happens to us is we call them back. And if we feel it enough, we march. And if we feel it enough, we come back into our heart. And if we truly, truly allow ourselves to be affected by those catalysts, oddly enough, we change the world around them such that if you believe in other lives, they get to come back into a world that's more compassionate because of what they catalyzed. Maybe that was their agreement before they got here, that they would be pained enough and cause enough dissonance that they would assist in changing the world. And eventually, none of us would have to live in the kind of pain that would cause that kind of behavior. So, my dears, that's my perspective on freedom. It's the freedom to be however you want, but in the end, freedom, we have to understand, can catalyze that freedom to be, can catalyze big change because ultimately the heart wins. And I'm just going to say this, ultimately the heart trumps all of it, truly. We get to have love win, but it requires the catalyst, and then it requires us speaking up at this point in our shifts. In future, as we all come into our hearts and resonate together, guess what? We have the freedom to just create upon creation together and collaborate and do what we were designed to do, be that heaven on earth creation crew. And I'm so glad you're on the heaven on earth creation crew with me at this time when we're all alive to cause this big bridge to a different world. To everyone who marched on that beautiful Saturday, the 21st, I'm just sending you so much love. To everyone that didn't understand, remember the words of St. Francis, seek to understand. Include everyone. Don't feel you need to be divisive to those that don't understand. Find a way to build a bridge. That's why we're alive right now. All right. So looking forward to our next message. Love to all. Thank you to Blessed Are the Weird and my dear sweetie of the inspired masculine, Adam, and all the women that marched and this beautiful Valentine's coming up in a couple of weeks. Mwah! Okay, you guys. Talk to you soon.